All right, we move ahead to another fighter competing this weekend at UFC 250. He's going to take on Eddie Wineland on the main card in Las Vegas. Let's check in with Sugar Sean O'Malley, who joins What the Heck for the first time. Sean, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great. How is Vegas right now? I saw you got in on Monday. How's everything going out there?
Yeah, just chilling in the hotel. Not a whole lot. Just hanging out. It's good though.
I know everything's pretty quiet out there from like the COVID front, but now we're seeing all the chaos with the protests and the news and all over social media. I know Vegas got pretty scary for a couple of nights. Have you seen or like kind of driven by anything that's been crazy going on out there? What's the atmosphere like?
It literally feels like another fight trip. I haven't noticed anything.
Nothing
Nothing.
different than before? Because normally, yeah, even during regular fight weeks, there's a lot of people there. I mean, you were on the last card with actual fans on it, so
Yeah, we're not on the strip at all, so it's just, it's just pretty much chilling in the hotel. Nothing. I haven't. Everything feels pretty much normal.
well, that's good. As far as the fighting goes, you're making up for lost time here after being out for 2 years due to all the craziness going on with USADA and all that. You're about to make the walk for the second time in a 3-month span. How refreshing is it to be able to talk about that as opposed to all the other crap that you had to deal with?
Yeah, it's good. My whole career, I've fought 3, 4, 5 times a year, so it's just we're back on track. It's nice. So I'm planning on going out there, getting a similar result, and getting back in a couple months.
I just had one last question about that other stuff because I remember we spoke heading into UFC 248 and you were just sort of taking it all day by day, and I couldn't get you out of my mind because you weren't fully confident that the fight would even happen. Like every time the phone rang, you just weren't sure like if the fight was going to get taken away. Have you sort of allowed yourself to get out of that box of uncertainty when it comes to USADA, or is it still sort of weighing on the back of your mind every time the phone rings?
No, now it's we got tested for COVID this morning, and I'm waiting on those results. That's the only thing that's kind of making me hesitant right now. And then Eddie, I think, gets here tomorrow or whatever, and he'll have to get tested. So if we're both in the clear there, we're pretty much good to go.
There you go. How good did it feel to actually make that walk again? And and I think the common term people use is you went out there and you pitched a perfect game against a pretty tough guy in Jose Quinones.
Yeah, it felt really good. I think it went as planned. I felt like my skill level was higher than his, and if I show up, which I do every single fight, I show up, that I was going to be able to get him out of there in the first. So it went as planned, and I was so healthy and felt so confident in that fight. It was nice, and I have that same feeling right now. That was less than 3 months ago, so I feel good.
You talked a lot about how not being able to fight obviously sucked for you, but you used that time so wisely to get a lot better in the gym and to become this sort of more evolved version of the guy we saw off the Contender Series and fight a couple of times in the UFC. Did it almost have like a UFC debut type feeling at all, or did it feel like it was your third or fourth fight in there?
A little bit of both. It did feel like it was my debut again, like coming back party, and then it felt like I'd been there a ton. So it was a mixture between like, damn, this is the first time that I'm ever fighting the UFC, and it was also like I'm a vet here. I know what to do. I know how to perform, and I know what I need to do. So it was a little mixture of both.
Do you think about the fact that you fought on the last event with the live audience, and it probably will be the last event with a live audience for quite some time?
Yeah, I doesn't really. If I could pick, I'd rather have fans there. It makes it way more entertaining. It's more fun, I guess. I don't know that yet because I haven't fought with no crowd, but I don't think it'll affect me at all. But if I got to pick, I'd rather have the fans there.
I mean, you have some experience, not completely empty because you were on the Contender Series, so you've kind of seen both sides of the coin, right?
Yeah, I think I didn't even, when I was fighting in the Contender Series, I didn't even think like, oh, there's not going to be a huge crowd. That didn't even cross my mind. The walkouts none of that really matters.
You wanted a step up in competition after that fight, and you get Eddie Wineland. He's got nearly 40 professional fights. He's fought for a world title before in the UFC. He's coming off a knockout win in his last fight as well. Do you feel like this fight sort of checks that box off for you in terms of that step up?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect next match for me. I never really, I'd heard his name. I knew who he was. Never really watched him fight. Watched him fight, and I knew, I was like, oh, that's a perfect next step for me. So yeah, it worked out great.
Why do you think that's a perfect next step? Is it just because of the record or is it more from a stylistic perspective, from a competitive standpoint, it gets you excited?
Both. He's a vet. It's a good matchup for me. So anyone that's going to try to strike with me is a good matchup for me. So it just worked out good.
I know you had done an interview with Luke Thomas a couple weeks ago, and you discussed that, the way things are coming together with your evolution in the fight game, opponents, et cetera. You said something to the effect of, if you want to fight better guys, get into the top 15, you feel like you should be compensated to a certain level to do so. If you don't mind me asking, how many fights do you have left on the deal that you're on right now?
After this fight, I'll have 2 more.
So 2 more. So things could change pretty quickly for you. You go out there and have another performance like you had the last time against a guy like Eddie Wineland. We might be talking renegotiation before we even get to that last fight, right?
We'll see. That's what I was told last fight, and then all of a sudden, no. So I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to say with the UFC.
Bantamweight is super interesting right now because it's just so deep. There's just so much talent from the tippy top to even guys 15 to 25 and even below that. It's one of those divisions where a lot of people stand out, but one person hasn't really leapfrogged everybody else. Like when you look at it, most people say Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan are 1A and 1B, but you can make arguments for guys like Moraes and Sandhagen. Hell, you guess you can make an argument for even Jose Aldo right now. When you see the division look like it does right now, do you see it as sort of oh man, this is a long road to get to the top 5 and a title shot because it's so log jammed? Or do you see it as this is an opportunity to start leapfrogging guys, big chunks of them all at once?
Yeah, I think could be the best division in the UFC right now. I think as far as how deep it goes, the whole top 10 is so stacked. But I think with my style, my performance that I'm going to have, and I'm going to continue to have, with my name being big and my following being big, I think a couple fights and I could be fighting for that title.
Did you notice a big change in your following after the win in March? Did you notice Instagram and social things start jumping up a little bit more? Because it had been a while since people had seen you compete.
Yeah, it almost I didn't get twice as many followers, but damn near. So I think that's gonna be I think it's gonna be another good night as far as getting more fans and more views and stuff. So yeah.
The hair is outstanding. Is there a story behind the hair? Is it just something you were feeling that day? How did that all come together?
Yeah, it just kind of happened. Just decided to do it. My girl does hair, so we made it happen.
There you go. First things first, Eddie Wineland this Saturday night, UFC 250. How do we keep this momentum moving forward? How do we get this done? Do we have an official Sugar prediction here? Yeah,
first round knockout. I just think that his style versus my style, and if we both show up, it's a quick night for us. I think I'm going to put him away fast.
What did you think of your former quintet teammate Gilbert Burns the other night, dominating Tyron Woodley? To see what he's done in the last 18 months or so, this is pretty incredible, is it not?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I gave Tyron a lot of respect. I'm like, God, it's going to be a hard fight for Gilbert, but he went in there and made it look easy. That was super impressive. I'd love to see Gilbert fight Kamaru and be champ. That would be fucking sweet.
What would you think of a matchup like that? Because it seems so interesting. Yeah, they're teammates, but I kind of want to see it. I didn't really think about it heading into that fight. I thought if Gilbert would win, it would be maybe a Leon Edwards or something like that. But now I kind of want to see it. How do you think that fight would play out? What would stick out to you?
I think Gilbert matches up best with Kamaru out of all those guys. Watching Kamaru fight Tyron, I'm like, God, who's going to be able to beat him? He's a fucking animal. And then watching Gilbert, I'm like, damn, that might be the guy that can put him away. But even still, it's still going to be a tough fight. But if anyone can get the job done, I think Gilbert can. Whose
performance impressed you more over Woodley, Usman's or Burns?
Burns, for sure.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just thought it did.
I do want to bring this up, and I'm sure you're going to roll your eyes, but I know Brian Kelleher has found a lot of creative ways to get your attention, and you've spoken about him before. He's not really on your radar, but he's about to take on a top 15 guy in your division on this same card. If he goes out and gets a win and does something impressive, does that fight begin to interest you anymore at all?
We'll see. It's almost kind of at this point just kind of funny. I just kind of brush him off, but if it happens, it happens. I'm glad that he go out there and knock him out. I don't see him as a threat really. But yeah, you never know. I don't know what's gonna happen. He's got to go out there and beat Cody. which I think he can get the job done. I think it's at 45 too, and Cody's like 5'3" or something, so he's pretty little. And Brian's a little bit taller, 5'4", 5'5". See, I think he's gonna have a little bit of an advantage, and it's at 45, so he's not gonna be cutting as much. So I think he might be able to get the job done, but we'll see. It's hard to. I'm pretty good at keeping my mindset on the fight I have ahead of me. So
fair enough. And then last thing, since it is in your division, who do you like in the Aljo versus Sandhagen fight on Saturday?
Fuck, I said my prediction's been Corey, and I'm kind of sticking with that. But it's really just a fucking toss up between those two. I don't know, but Corey, I think he's got the level on the feet higher than Aljo, and I think he'll be able to. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I got Corey.
I'm so interested in seeing Cody Garbrandt come back too, because I think that's a bigger question than that fight too. I think that's actually a bigger story at the end of the day, because it's been so long since we've seen him, and he's been knocked out in 3 straight fights. It's interesting to see if he can come back. Now he's talking about a move to 25. Is that a guy that you're looking at? I know you're focused on the fight, but are you intrigued by the returning Cody Garbrandt and what he could do against a guy like a Sun Tzu?
Yeah, if he wins, I'd be, it'd be like, but if he loses, it's like he's 0-4 in the last 4, and it just doesn't. I don't know. He's still got a big name. Still definitely an opponent that I feel like matches up really well with me. Someone who gets emotional if you fucking say their name. They just get angry. So I think that'd be a good matchup for me, but we'll see if he goes out there and puts away a Sun Tzu. I feel like a Sun Tzu's going to win that fight, though.
Yeah, a very underrated guy despite being so highly ranked in the division. But I know you get a lot going on, man. I appreciate you squeezing me in for 10 or 15 minutes or so. All the best to you on Saturday in your fight with Eddie Wineland, Sean. I appreciate it.